To another friend who's been right at the beginning of the Sun movement is Venkatesh Mannar, the president of the Micronutrient initiative. Particularly help us to get a feel of the advocacy challenges for scaling up as you see them, please. You have the 2 minutes.
Thank you, David. And let me start with a personal introduction and link it to some of the work of the Micronutrient initiative. I hail from a family that has been producing salt in India for more than 5 generations. Some of my forefathers were involved with the salt satyagraha movement in India, started by Gandhi, that ultimately triggered the movement towards independence from colonial rule. When I joined the family business, the addition of iodine to salt was a concept that was just gaining ground. But it was really when this movement reached out to a much wider set of partners, including the salt industry, of which I was a part then, did it really gain traction. And in fact, between the 80s and now, the 20-25 years, we have seen a public investment of about $400 million in salt iodization leverage a much larger private investment that I estimate is over $3 billion in the expansion and modernization of the salt industry, and that has contributed to effective iodization. Today, 4 billion people in the world today have access to iodized salt, and it has contributed, as we all know, to a great reduction in the prevalence of iodine deficiency in several regions. But what has this taught me in terms of my experience both in the for-profit sector and in the non-profit sector is that actions to improve nutrition can have a value, have an impact on the whole value chain. And let me illustrate this with an example. I was in Bima in Indonesia a few years ago, where we were interacting with the local salt producers who were producing salt by traditional methods, and the salt was of poor quality, low value, iodine deficiency was rampant, very little was being iodized. The Micronutrient initiative, with support from SIDA, went in, we offered equipment and training. We brought the salt producers up to steam in terms of organizing themselves into cooperatives, improving their quality, improving their packaging and their marketing. And all of this has really contributed to the improvement of the value of the salt that they produced. And today, 5 years from that point, we have the island of Bima now producing salt of a very high quality that benefits nearly 10 million people in the surrounding parts of Indonesia. And it's a huge success because it has improved the value they realize for their salt, their livelihoods, and their incomes and their productivity. And so I would like to close by saying that this Bima story is just one of many stories that we are beginning to see around the world of how value chains can achieve and sustain nutrition goals and at the same time provide economic, social, and health benefits down the value chain. And I think this is for the benefit of society in general and contribute specifically to achieving nutrition goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkatesh. Just such an extraordinary story. Having worked in communities affected by iodine deficiency, I just want to say that your work has been quite remarkable. Thank you again for your leadership.